Welcome to the Bond with nature. Each generation has their own way of communicating. Baby boomers, for example, they are the ones that were born between 1946 and 1964, are very comfortable with following the rules. Gen X was born between 1965 and 1980, and they're a bit more independent. Millennials, born between 1981 and 1996, love rewards and are a bit more technical, very comfortable with technology. And Gen Z, born between 1997 and 2012, are socially conscientious. They love social issues and they believe in positive reinforcement. So with all of these different upbringings, with all of the different generations making up the tapestry of our beautiful community, how on earth does one generation communicate with another generation? Imagine a baby boomer who's convinced with being traditional and rules-based, talking to somebody of a millennial who's very tech savvy and reward-based. And what about Gen X, who's a little bit more skeptical but very independent? And Gen Z, socially conscientious, love positive reinforcement. So how do we get all of these different types of personalities together so that we can actually communicate? Well, let's start with Gen Z. They are highly aware of social issues, and they're very important to them. They advocate for change, something that some other previous generations may not be too fond of. They also have grown up with technologies like smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and computers, and they're very comfortable not only with using a variety of different tools and apps for things, but they have no problem learning something, even if that means that they have to go to phone university to learn how to use the latest edition of a new smartphone. So they also enjoy consolidating things into infographics or using video tutorials. They're sometimes considered a more visual learner as a whole. There are exceptions, but in general, they appreciate the visual aspect of learning more so than previous generations. And they may have a tendency to use texts and emojis a little bit more than previous generations. They also may abbreviate sentences, come up with catchphrases or a way of shortening a word in order to convey an idea instead of just explaining it in a traditional sense with a full sentence or by handwriting out a note and popping it into the mail using the postal system. They are entrepreneurial, and they often think about starting their own business. So how do you think a Gen Z person would build a business around dogs? Well, let's take a look at No Paws Like Home. Now, this is a dog training company owned by a Gen Z expert, someone who has taken the time to get certified themselves in a variety of different aspects. Kaiden. Let's meet Kaiden. He has built a way to offer dog training on a multiple way of platforms. So for example, you can take a virtual class leveraging online technology. You can also take a class in person with some individual consulting as well as a group class. So he can do everything from training a dog with the basics to training service dogs. He serves the Orange County area right now in Southern California, but because he has that virtual aspect, he's enabled himself to broaden his geographic horizons and allow for training from various other cities or even states. So let's take a lesson from Kaiden Laird of No Paws Like Home and have a wonderful conversation with him about his Gen Z dog training company. We'll be right back with a chit chat with Kaiden. Stay tuned and we'll see you in a little bit. And welcome back. We are here with Kaiden in the flesh. So thank you, Kaiden, so much for joining us. We have so many questions for you, and I would love to just get right down to it, if you don't mind.
Hit me.
First thing is, you are based in Orange County, but you actually have the ability to service people outside of the geographic area. Is that right?
Correct.
And so tell me, first off, how do you connect with your customers who are of different generations?
So it can be a little tricky when you mention the word Zoom or Google Meet to someone. They're like, what the heck does that mean?
Technology.
But, exactly.
Okay.
But I make sure that everything's very, very simple. And my main goal is just to get on a phone call if somebody's on a different generation, and I can walk them through each step of how to copy and paste the URL, put it in, then after that, it's really just about tilting the camera down to the dog. And that's the only thing that needs to happen from that point on.
And then you can ascertain any issues that the dog has just by a laptop camera that's pointed at them or a cell phone camera.
Yep, just need videos to be able to see the person and the dog, and from there, I'll be able to help them with whatever they need.
That's fantastic. So you mentioned Zoom as far as a technology tool. Are there any tools that you would give a client to help them in training?
Definitely. So for the people that want to work with me on a long-term basis, like start to finish dog training, I provide them with a kit to help record. So there's tripod trackers that you can put your phone into, so it tracks them as they walk and as they move, or things that you can attach around your neck to keep it accessible, so that way they can record the dog while they're training, just to make it easier for them to get high quality video, so that way it can help them in the best fashion.
Okay, and then you're able to critique them much like a post-sports playoff evaluation, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so I also see that you have a couple of certifications. Can you explain to me about why you, as the entrepreneur, you're the owner, you don't have to get certified. So why did you decide that you wanted to get certified?
I decided that I wanted to get certified because there's so much important education in the dog training industry. I mean, a couple decades ago, those people who, train guide dogs for the blind, they didn't even use treats. They didn't use much. They just, used whatever they needed to get the dog to perform it. There's even a old method where people would pinch the ear of a dog, causing pain. And once they would open the mouth to grab something, they'd release the pain. And that's how they teach dogs to pick up objects.
Wow, that's some history lesson.
Just a little bit. So I think that education is so important just to, you can learn a lot from working with dogs, but you don't get to learn about their neurochemistry from simply watching a dog blink or watching them eat a treat. So just knowing the inner workings, you got to pick up a book to know how to fix a car. Even if you've gotten so far okay, you still need to know. Yeah, you still need to know.
You need that hands-on experience.
Exactly.
So that brings up a point about the different types of training, and there are some various techniques that have been used by a variety of trainers throughout the years. The pinched ear is one. There's also an alpha dog type training where there's only one and you need to be the alpha as the human. Do you have any comments or thoughts on that?
Well, the alpha dog comes from the idea of one person who observed a pack of wolves, seeing as there was one on top. And the man who actually created that philosophy ended up debunking it. And wolves are a lot more like a family than they are anything else. They go into different packs with different siblings, relatives, and they all work to that common goal. And the leaders of those packs, they care for everyone. They're not the first one, they're the last one watching over everyone. So it's a little bit outdated in the alpha sense, as dogs are similar to wolves in the same way that we can be similar to a banana. We share a lot of our DNA with a banana, but I don't want you going around calling me a banana or trying to peel me open or anything like that. They're so different creatures. So just really recognizing a dog as an individual with a mental health is so important. And I like to recognize that a dog needs, and that kind of alpha methodology, it treats them as objects that just want to dominate everything, and that they're way more complex.
What I'm hearing you saying is that when you adopt a dog into your family, it really does become a member of the family. And just like any member of the family, we all have our position in that family tree. And so sometimes it's this and sometimes it's that. It sort of depends on the day, the situation, the stimuli, so to speak. Is that right? Do I
Exactly.
have that?
No, exactly.
Okay. So that's where your science-based training comes from. Do you feel like based off of your training and your certification or your experience that you get an insight into the motivation or the psychology of the dog, like why this dog is behaving this way?
Definitely. I wouldn't be able to help as many dogs as I am today. I like to call myself the last trainer that people will need. I've had a lot of people go to other trainers, famous trainers, alpha trainers, and then they come to me because they're like, it didn't really work. And I wouldn't be able to fix and solve those complex issues if I didn't have that foundational education of knowing how their brain works and how a dog thinks and feels and acts.
So give me a little bit of insight into that. Like how do I look at a dog? Like I'm looking at this dog. How do I know what she's thinking?
Well, it's a little bit complicated. One big thing that we run into is that we try to read a dog's body language as if we read a person's body language, in the same way of, oh, they're stretching, they're tired, oh, they're yawning, they need a nap or something like that.
So
but
if they're sleeping, they're clearly relaxed or tired.
Yeah, that's what we want to think, but it's actually the opposite for dogs.
Oh.
They do a lot of de-stressing signals to try to mitigate a situation, and there's around 30 of those. And a lot of times we mistake them for something else. Like if your dog is stretching or trying to kiss your hand, they might be actually asking you to move your hand away and not giving you appreciation for that touch.
So when a dog comes up to you and then licks your face, what is that?
It depends. It can be happy, I'm so glad to see you, and it can be what we call a kiss to dismiss, which means, ooh, no thank you, and then they'll walk away.
Wow.
Dogs say please and thank you and no thank you a lot more than we think, and sometimes we just take it as friendly when they're really trying to communicate a need or a want.
So that's interesting. So your website clearly says that you offer different flavors of services, right? You have the virtual services, you have in-person services, you have classes that you teach in a group for people who are local, puppy training, good dog training, service dog training, and behavioral breakthroughs. Can you tell me a little bit about what those are?
Definitely. So all of them, they just have cutesy little names depending on what each person wants to focus on. For puppy training, it's all about making those puppy blues easier. Most people, when they get a puppy, they start to think, what the heck did I do when they get that puppy? And
what have I signed up for?
Yeah, exactly. It's way more overwhelming than anybody online will tell you. So I love to make that easier and then prepare the puppy for adulthood. Teach them how to socialize, teach them confidence, teach them how to fall down and get back up. When it comes to good dog obedience, it's more about the sits, the down, the loose leash walking, like all of the basic stuff of just making sure that they understand the basics of leash pressure, of if there's pressure on the leash, that means to go towards it, not away from it.
Okay, and I'm noticing that she's looking at you. Why is that?
Simply put, that's what I want her to do, and I've showed her over and over again that I want her to do that. Okay,
so can you have her look at, say, another location?
Sure, if I throw a treat at it.
Show me. Let's see.
Simply, she's going to look at whatever she wants, and she knows that I am the good man. I give her love. I give her affection. I've showed her this is what I appreciate from her.
All right.
And if I give her something else over there, and now we're looking.
But she's not going at it.
Nope.
So she just knows that that's where she needs to look. Because you've trained her to do that.
She knows what expectations are, and I have the expectation of her staying right here for right now, not going to get that treat. If I were to say a specific word, that means that you can go get that treat, but I won't do that right now.
Please don't do that, because we would love to keep both of our guests. So what other things can you instruct a owner to train their dog to do?
Basically,
do you have any stories of something that's been unusual that they've been asked to do? I mean,
definitely. I've had someone ask me to train their rescue dog to pick up objects inside the house for an elderly person inside the house.
Well, that actually sounds really useful. That does sound useful. So, for example, I've dropped my cell phone, but I can't reach down to pick it up. I've dropped my hairbrush. I've dropped a soda can. Can she pick up all those things?
Yep, for her, yes.
Okay. What about if I sneeze? Can I have her go find me a Kleenex or
you can
a tissue?
train all that. I haven't had to train that one yet, but training things for people who struggle with PTSD, hallucinations, schizophrenia, you can train the dog to scope out the house, check the rooms, let you know if there's a person there or not. Train dogs to wake you up if a baby's crying in the next room. It's endless possibilities.
So if someone is really anxious, like I'm just nervous all the time, I'm constantly checking the doors and the windows, and I think somebody's breaking in, I'm paranoid, what could a dog do?
You can teach the dog to alert you if there is a person present through the training.
Like a real person, not an imaginary person.
Exactly. And if the dog says there's no person, then you say, okay, fine, there's no person. You can teach the dog, if they hear the doorbell, to go get you, like if you're hard of hearing, instead of just barking at it, for example.
Okay. And so part of this training, what tools do you use for training, the actual act of training?
My best asset for training is that of affection. Of just teaching the dog what's right and really having fun with them.
But how do you show affection? Because sometimes petting is invasive.
Exactly. In short, it depends on the dog. For her, she does not like to be pet when I'm asking her to do things. She is very much so, I'm working, don't touch me, I'm focused. But she loves a little happy puppy voice. Yeah. So good.
And do you use a clicker on her at all?
Yes. Clickers are great.
Do you like clickers?
I don't have one on me, but clickers are great for precision training when you're training something new for a dog.
Okay, and how do you use it? For any of our audience that doesn't know what a clicker is, it's just a small little device that makes a little type sound, and you use it, and Kaiden is going to tell you how you use it and in what circumstances. So please continue.
You basically want to use the clicker as if it was a camera screenshotting the exact perfect moment of what you want your dog to do.
Okay.
So if you're training a dog to
skateboard.
I've done that one. Only on my personal dogs though. But if we were to train her how to sit, the second her butt touches the floor, it would be a click, like right there. And we would just kind of almost screenshot that perfect picture of what you want from your dog. And it adds so much clarity to them because you're saying, yes, perfect, exactly.
Excellent. So do you have any thoughts about the future of dog training and what you would like to see?
Definitely. I think that the dog training industry is going in an incredibly positive direction. As you know, each year that the dog training industry progresses, we're getting more informed about a dog's mental health and seeing them as an individual, not a wolf. We're getting more on top of how to get efficient and accurate training to the point where the major dog training industries in the United States, such as the International Association of Canine Professionals, or CCPDT, they're actually starting to rethink their humane structure to make it kinder to dogs. They're going to really revolutionize the industry. Everyone is always working to get kinder to dogs and understand them more instead of just punishing them for when they do something wrong.
I see. Okay, so you like the way that people are moving forward with positive affirmations and reinforcement and all that, being nicer to dogs.
Exactly.
As opposed to, you are an animal, you do what you're told.
Exactly. My dogs, they are my family. Their food bill is as high as mine, in all honesty. And I couldn't imagine forcing them to do something when they are scared, when they are hurt, when they are in pain, and them doing it because they're afraid of what I'm going to do to them. I would much rather my dog listen to me because they want a couple scratches and pets than them fear of the consequences of ignoring me.
Okay, and in our last couple of minutes, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what you think a working dog could do. What jobs can humans give those dogs? And then tell a little bit about your No Paws Like Home. I see that you're wearing your shirt.
Yes.
And show us what that is. And it says professional dog training. And that's for you to teach the owners how to train their own dogs. So it's a train the trainer type situation that you have, right? Okay. And if you could touch on a working dog and what occupations they have.
Definitely. Every single dog that I've ever known would enjoy a job, whether it's a small one or a big one. every single dog can benefit from having something to do and then knowing that they did a good job at the end of the day. It can be complex jobs like service dog training for people with PTSD, physical disabilities. It can be herding sheep out in the wild. It can be training your pet dog to alert you when the baby is crying in the next room. It can
those are all jobs.
Yes.
So when a dog gets assigned a job, they really like it. They feel a purpose, or?
Yes, we have bred dogs for hundreds of years to do a job for us and for them to enjoy when they're doing that job well. And it's really difficult for a dog to do nothing all day throughout their life. Every single dog I've ever known loves a job, just to have something to do and to know that they did it well at the end of the day.
That is excellent. Well, thank you so much, Kaiden, for stopping by and joining us with your beautiful dog, who is part poodle and...
Tiny bit of golden.
Tiny bit of golden, okay. And her name is...
Orphic.
Orphic.
You said your name.
Thank you so much. And we will be right back after a short little break in order to come back and finish up about how fabulous Kaiden is. Don't you want to reach out to him? Thanks for joining us, and we will see you shortly. I really enjoyed chatting with Kaiden of No Paws Like Home. So one of the things that I took as a takeaway was the impact of positive reinforcement, which is one of the hallmarks of a Gen Zer, right? So I was able to learn that it goes beyond just shaping behavior. It's about building a bond and fostering trust between you as the human and a dog, or the dog handler, or as the trainer if you want to learn how to be a trainer yourself to your own little pup. So we can all learn something from each other, from other generations, and from other parts of the animal kingdom. You see, different generations communicate differently just because we've all grown up with different experiences, different surroundings, and different events which have molded us and made an impression on us in the news and politics, in our society, and everywhere. So because of that, we all have certain skills and certain talents, but we don't all have the same communication style. And one of the things I appreciate about Gen Zers is their ability to reach out and embrace the different communication styles from different generations. So No Paws Like Home makes an effort to communicate the way we as customers from a variety of different generations and cultures can understand in a mode that is most convenient for us. If I don't live in the heart of Orange County in California, then maybe a virtual class would be perfect for me. But it's more than just a way of thinking. One thing I really liked about Kaiden is that he constructs his techniques on science-based methods. So it's not only a way to create a well-behaved dog, and we all love one of those, but it's also a way to address a variety of behavior problems in your dog. It's a way of helping the community by even training service dogs. So in a world where the term alpha dog has been synonymous with dominance and even bullying, Kaiden has embraced a more positive reinforcement type technique. And that means it's empowering you to collaborate with your pack, your dog, your set of dogs, as opposed to being the bully that might intimidate. So we know that there's a variety of different techniques out there, and they all have merit and they all work for a certain type of dog. But Kaiden's method is really emphasizing the positive reinforcement. His philosophy is very simple. It's sort of lead by example rather than enforce by strict authority or unwavering rules. So on his website, he states, training with love and leading with knowledge, because every dog deserves kindness, respect, and understanding. And that's the thing about us as people. We all deserve kindness, respect, and understanding. So these are all lessons that we can learn from our canine friends, from our trainers and apply them to the people in our circles. So these are lessons that we're pulling from the animal world into our human world in order to bond with other people in addition to nature. So he's not only imparting knowledge on things, but he's showing us a new way of life. And these are all lessons that we can share and love. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join me and taking the time to join me on this journey to get to know Kaiden. And I hope that you have been able to take away those 5, maybe 6 things about No Paws Like Home or Kaiden himself. Those would be being a seasoned dog owner or being a newcomer, being able to understand that in our session today, we understand that No Paws Like Home is, well, one thing is that he's multi-certified. He's a behavior expert and he understands about canine motivations. He can also train entire families in order to train their own dogs. So that's the best way that they build that consistent bond. He also has a desire for unifying dogs and people for the end result of everyone being happy. And he believes he wants to empower people so that they can train their own dogs with enthusiasm. Was that 5? I think that was 4. Oh, and on a personal note, the 5th one is that he adores drinking peppermint matcha and exploring hidden gems of the parks of Orange County, California. So he trains service dogs, shows his dedication for the community that way, and he also offers virtual classes. You know, I think that might be 7 things about Kaiden and No Paws Like Home, but let's see if that makes a world a better place with your 4-legged friends to reach out to No Paws Like Home and engage Kaiden services. And for those of you who are watching and maybe grappling with the challenges of your furry friend's behavior, or you're just simply curious about unlocking their natural instinctual potential, then No Paws Like Home can actually offer some personalized solutions as well as being tailored to your dog's temperament and your specific needs. It's a way of having better communication styles for positive reinforcement, improved communication, and a renewal of commitment for showing respect and love and understanding for your furry friends. I recognize that you have a busy life, and I really appreciate the time that you spent with me today to chat and learn about this new method or a method of dog training. I want to thank you for exploring this dog training with me, and I want you to remember that a happy dog is a happy home, and a happy home makes a happy community, and a happy community makes a happy world. So let's take that first step in seeing how we can make our own inner circles happier and appreciate all the efforts that they put into the day. Slip out of that stressful workday and into the comforting embrace of your dog's warm and cozy cuddles. Until we bond again.